So I think a lot of problems that people have um, are to do with the fact that people just don't know what they want. They know they want something. Let's call it fulfillment as a kind of blanket term, but they don't know what that is or how to get it. They just know that they feel not enough, not enoughness. There's a general sense of no, I'm not enough, and this not right. You gotta go get it, go get it. And some people seem to be getting it when you look at their Facebook posts. Like that guy's got it. I'm pretty sure. He always looks good. He's in front of something interesting and exciting. And of course, when you investigate their lives, you're like, oh no, he hasn't got it at all, actually. So how do you get it? How do you get it? It's so interesting because it seems to do with sensitivity, because some people are not sensitive enough to even realize that they're looking for something, that they're looking for fulfillment. Like they haven't thought about it. they haven't questioned themselves to that extent to realize the mechanics of the operation, And so I think it's all to do with sensitivity. You're either sensitive to the mechanics of what's playing out, or you're just a servant to the mechanics of what's playing out, you could say. So people don't know what they want, and that's why they get constantly frustrated, because they think they know what they want. And you think, well, what would be your idea of fulfillment? It's like, well, I don't know, win an Oscar. I'm an actor, so that's what comes up. Win an Oscar, like, fuck, I got an Oscar. I've made it. But then what? And I suspect that very night when they go home with a statue in the hand, put it on a shelf, it must be so disappointing. I can only imagine, if it was me, that I would go home with that Oscar, put it on the mantelpiece, and feel awful. Because that you can only you presumably, because what are you going to do? Go to bed forever? That, like, I've made it, I'm finished. It's over. It's done. No. What now? Okay, I've got one Oscar. Some people have got more. Shit. He's going to get another one. Or whatever, But it is, I think it is the thing that it's like you don't know what you want. And was it Oscar Wilde said something like, there's only one thing worse than not getting what you want, and that's getting what you want. And it's so true. Because when you get your heart's desire and you have all your ducks in a row and everything's perfect and you nailed it, whatever it is, and you're still not happy. I mean, what a revelation. What a bomb going off in your brain, ow, And I think there are people like that. A lot of celebrities, for example, Jim Carrey, talks a lot about, he's pretty much talked about Kundalini in some of his interviews. I think he knows a lot of his stuff. And he's someone that I kind of feel quite connected to him in some ways. But I don't know if it's something to do with being an actor and a performer, and what he went through with playing all these different roles. And he played this one role, and he got into it so much that at the end of the movie and the rehearsals, he didn't even know who Jim Carrey was, because it's like, well, if this guy isn't real, then Jim Carrey's not real either. That was just another role. He talks a lot about these things. It's very interesting. But anyway, so we don't know what we want. So I think it's important maybe to outline what you want from life. Okay, say you want family. Okay, what's the family going to give you? What's it going to bring you? It sounds good. Sounds good to me right now. They'll be like, comfort, love, creating children, creation, the fruits of your love, breeding new love. There's something about it. There's when I think about family, I just think about a hot fire for some reason in the fireplace, in cozy times and children and laughter. But of course, if you look through the window of most homes, that's probably not what's going on in there exactly. So every desire, it seems, is just doomed to failure. It's just doomed. Any sense of finding fulfillment is just doomed from the onset. It's doomed from the inception of it's already doomed. It's just doomed. And I think the reason it's doomed is simply because whatever it is you could possibly find, I don't know, let's assume that most people are looking for peace. Let's talk about peace, because I can talk about that because I feel pretty chill. It's very obvious when I feel chill and I feel peaceful and I feel good. It's very obvious that this couldn't be found elsewhere or in the future, So it seems like peace, since I've chosen that word, it seems like that is the natural state. And that's quite obvious as well from looking at this tree that I'm looking at. It seems like it's in a state of oneness. It seems peaceful. It seems connected, rooted, certainly. I mean, you could only aspire to be rooted like that freaking tree, And yeah, the tree, okay, was not going clubbing. It's not taking ecstasy. It's not performing on a stage in front of a huge crowd. So maybe it's missing out on those things. And perhaps you could imagine it getting up and walking and experiencing those things, going in front of a crowd and being like, hey, look at me, I'm a tree. Look at me up here on the stage. These are my roots, these are my arms. Look how strong I am. I made this, I built this. I'm showing off or whatever. And then it might go to a club and do a line of coke in the toilets, and just come out feeling, yeah, man, rock and roll. And then have all these experiences. But I suspect, and I could be wrong, but I suspect that eventually, once the tree has had enough experiences, it would just come back here and it would find the holes in the ground where its roots used to be and just plug itself back in, and just be like, I'm just a fucking tree, man. But, not just a tree, because the tree's not separate from the ground, and the ground's not separate from the roots of the tree or whatever. And if you look into underneath the tree, that's connected to something else, which is so that trees is also everything else. Just looking like a tree. Looked at from these eyes, it looks like a tree, but what the fuck is a tree? I mean, who knows? Nobody knows what a tree is. God doesn't know what a tree is. Ascended masters don't know what a tree is. How could they? I just know I like it. That's my connection to the trees, man. I just love them. I love them because they're rooted, and I think, from the messages that I've got since this awakening, I think I need to apparently do some work on my root chakra, and it's slightly out of whack, so maybe that's why I'm attracted to trees. I need to be more rooted. But I do love them, and I love that I've won a tree outside my window. If you've got a tree outside your window, damn, dude, you are in the blessed camp. Yeah, so we don't know what we want. We don't know what we want, but we know we want something. And it's just investigate. You just investigate. You're like, okay, well, what do I want? What would make me happy? We're trying it out. We're testing it out, it seems to me, is what we're doing. Okay, I think this will make me happy. Go, great, go and do that. It's like, oh, it didn't. It didn't work. Okay, try something else. And maybe after a gazillion lifetimes, you're like, oh, I'm starting to lose faith in this process, I think I need to die now. No, but I mean, eventually everything's got to go back to itself eventually, right? I had this little book of koans once, little sayings. One of them was, when you come to the one that draws all things unto itself, there your soul must stay. And I always thought that was beautiful and enigmatic at the time, and wondrous and trippy, and but it's starting to kind of make sense a little bit. When you come to the one that draws all things unto itself, it makes sense because I feel like a black hole at the moment, and like everything's collapsing back into it from seeking. If there is such a thing as seeking, one could assume that there is something opposite to seeking that has an opposite force. If one sees seeking as a kind of stretching and reaching, the opposite force could be seen as a kind of inward movement. And that's what it seems is happening with this Kundalini thing, among other strange phenomena. So something about black holes is quite enigmatic, and sucking that energy as like a big bang, and then the energy is sucked back in like a heartbeat. It's probably not very helpful, but it's just ideas. So we don't know what we want. That was the point of this video initially. I've had a few glasses of wine, so forgive me. And that's the funny thing about the seeking energy. It wants something. Not quite sure what it is, but it knows it's something. And after a certain amount of time acquiring things and not being fulfilled, you get tired. I mean, how much energy do you have to keep going? How much energy is there to keep seeking? Before the organism just collapses, you know. So eventually you encounter something like these radical people, the radical non-dual message, who are telling you that what you're seeking for is already. And then you're like, what? That can't be right. Like, what? That is so stupid. So are human beings just a bunch of dumbasses? Are we just like, duh? Is the universe laughing at us, like all the aliens and all the like? And they're just looking at us going like, fucking morons. Just looking for ourselves elsewhere, as if we weren't already fulfilled like everything else. Maybe it's like that. I don't know. Are we just a bunch of morons as human beings? I mean, are we heading to extinction? I don't know. Are we just fucking retarded? And if we're retarded, why did we choose to be retarded to have that experience before incarnation or whatever? Where we're just like, I wanna know what it's like to be totally retarded, so that I can experience being sane again. Is that why we do it? Because that's retarded. So I don't know. But I do think that what we most desire in our heart of hearts is already the case. I mean, I think without really being a non-dual person or understanding these things, that intuitively that does seem to click somehow. I don't know how, but I'm pretty sure basically that the future doesn't have anything for me. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have any golden nugget waiting for me in a good way, not in a depressing way. All right. Thanks for checking in.